Okay, so it seems like there's been even more conversation surrounding the whole Leaflit stuff and also Neuro Sama. Now, obviously, Neuro Sama has been brought up a lot due to the whole AI VTuber conversation, because if you don't know, obviously Leaflit has made a tool to create and help people create AI PNG tubers for their Twitch channels or whatever, right? It creates animations and also the model itself, and you know, it kind of creates a little bit of a gap between a regular PNG tuber and a VTuber model, because it has like cool, like, what do you call it, actual movement animations, but also doesn't look as like stiff as like a regular PNG tuber, right? Which obviously lots of people are talking about and discussing. Now, there's so much to discuss with this situation, and I think there's one thing that I did kind of forget to mention in some of my other videos, is more so the kind of creative control you have over your art and the stuff that you make whenever it comes to using a program like this. There was something that I kind of missed out, in the sense of people would not be able to own like as much, and people would be able to do whatever they wanted with your kind of model and things without any protections. And I think that is something that maybe some people haven't really brought up whenever it comes to this you know, whole model creation thing, because obviously AI art cannot be copyrighted. You cannot own it. But of course you could use it if you want to, but it does leave you susceptible to people of course going in and using it for themselves and making whatever essentially they want from it, right? So that is also maybe another concern that some people might have with using this tool. Obviously, among the other concerns which we covered in the last videos, for example, the fact of, you know, a lot of people don't want to interact with people that use AI, especially in the VTubing space, right? But there's also another group of people who, you know, obviously don't care about that kind of stuff. So if you're okay with that, then that's fine, of course. There's also like the, you know, limited nature of AI and things, and maybe some people don't like the designs and whatever. So again, I think there is a lot that maybe some people might have in terms of pros and cons, but I definitely do think a big con is not being able to obviously own your model, right, and be able to do what you want with it and protect it in the same way that you would do if you obviously commissioned one and had art done that you then own the kind of like trademark to, or whatever you want to call it, because you wouldn't be able to do that. And we kind of did discuss that slightly with the whole Fillion stuff too, in the sense that Fillion wasn't able to make figures and stuff because she didn't have the ownership. And I think that might be a kind of similar case here too, which a lot of people have been kind of making you know, what do you call it, comparisons to. Lots of people were comparing this to for example, like customizable models, you know, like the cheap ones where you can like change a couple of features, and maybe it doesn't look the most unique, but it does look pretty decent. But it's just like, it's just not unique. That's the only downside of it. Lots of people were saying that, yeah, you wouldn't be able to make figures and merch and whatever if you were to blow up with that model, which I do think is true. But also with ones like this, which I didn't really think about, to be fair, I feel like you wouldn't be able to do that either, because you wouldn't actually own the rights behind it. And also as well, you would need a very specific company to want to work with it too, because a lot of companies would be very anti-AI, right? But again, where does Neuro Sama fit into this whole thing? Well, a lot of people have been bringing her up, especially in lots of threads, whenever it comes to this whole situation, saying, why would VTubing community reject Leaflit's AI-generated tools, but love Neuro Sama? And obviously, they say VTubing space, this one benefits me. Obviously, with Neuro Sama, AI project that commissions artists. VTubing space, this one detriments me. AI project that generates art. So yeah, obviously, so this one benefits me. AI that generates images. This one detriments me, AI that streams and incredibly popular. So yeah, of course, lots of people have been pointing out the comparisons. Now, a lot of people have been responding to this though, saying the only thing that's AI generated is their words. Vedal is not looking to replace people in the streaming space. Even he acknowledges that Neuro is kind of boring on her own. Was Neuro's live 2D model AI generated, or her art or her emotes? No. I wouldn't even bin Neuro along major LLM models, because supposedly it's Vedal's own model running on his own hardware. It's a homebrew as fuck, and that's the rules, and that's what VTubing is about. As at its core, VTubing is an entertainment form that relies on creative work of people, artists, riggers, people that handle music covers, merch, and AI is the enemy of creative work. Saying it would be modified existing LLMs. Why not bin together with major LLMs? They literally said the reason right after. So the model he's using is one of the major LLMs that he tailored for his use. The hardware that used said model burns through the same electricity a data center does. First of all, Vedal uses high-end specialized consumer-grade hardwares. Sure, it consumes more energy than the average PC, but comparing it to a data center is too much of an exaggeration. Saying, is this a meme, or are you actually asking? Which again, I think it is one of those things. Yeah, like, yeah, I don't think he's like Vedal isn't consuming the same amount of power as a data center, right? Data centers consume crazy amounts of power, and crazy amounts of other stuff as well, right? Of course, yes, it does, as they say, consume more than the average PC does, 100%. But not nowhere near a data center, right? So I don't even watch Neuro, but you'd have to be pretty out of touch or disingenuous to not know, to immediately not know the answer. Vedal supports artists and has been massive backing of the art community. Leaflit is giving the middle finger to and spitting on every artist to ever exist. People are much more tolerant of LLMs than generative graphical AI. Leaflit is a piece of shit show, discuss racism, other stuff on the daily. She was already a persona non grata in VTubing before this AI stunt to stay relevant. So obviously, that's what that person's saying. Leaflet's representation precedes her. In addition to everything else, the Neuro for AI is more or less a chatbot that needs human interaction or intervention to work well. Leaflet's program is a generative AI, which is strictly made out of spite because artists refuse to work with her and her gang. She's advertising it in a way to avoid paying artists. So obviously, yeah, you can see the kind of other side of, what people are saying of this argument. And I think it is important to look at the other side as well, because we've covered a lot of people in defense of Leaflet and things like that. But obviously, there's a lot of people that are also unhappy with this and with her new tool, right? But I think it is interesting, right? Because a lot of people have been comparing it in the sense of Neuro Sama is essentially this, VTuber who the only AI that is actually used is for the speech itself. And as a lot of people point out, a lot of the stream tends to be other factors outside of Neuro Sama, right? People saying even Vedal admits that Neuro is pretty boring on her own, right? Essentially, the thing that makes up a Neuro Sama stream a lot of the time is the collabs, is the kind of cool things that Vedal sets up. And I think that's what gives it more of that human element to some people, right? And that's why a lot of VTuber fans who maybe are anti-AI or whatever might be a little bit more lenient towards Neuro Sama because of the amount of human work that has gone into it, and the only AI aspect is really her kind of speech model and things like that, and moving the VTuber model, right? So again, that's what people have been kind of pointing towards in terms of the differences between Leaflet's new thing and this obviously Neuro Sama herself, right? But obviously, Leaflet has talked a lot about Neuro Sama as well. People saying the only thing about Neuro Sama that is AI is the fact that she's a chatbot, which chatbots aren't a new concept and have been around for a long time before the generative AI hype. So I don't think this is the only thing it is. He really doesn't know her. So I love how he immediately switched to attacking Neuro when challenged. So nobody takes Neuro Sama seriously anyways, because the only reason people like her is because of her model. Saying, do you even read interactions? Before running your mouth, think it's an LLM and is just as bad as other LLMs. So nobody takes Neuro Sama seriously anyways. There's a reason why nobody brings her up in terms of best VTuber personality, and that's because she doesn't have any. Which, to be fair, I think that even Vedal kind of acknowledges that she can be a little bit boring at times, right? But again, as I said, the things around her is the thing that makes up the stream and the thing that makes it entertaining, right? Saying, which part did I not read? And obviously, the arguing, saying your point. We all know that Neuro Sama is an LLM, aka chatbot that is not a real person, yet her model and rig was still made by a real person. So to say there's no human output and that Neuro is 100% Gen AI is not factual at all. Also, yeah, not many people take Neuro's opinion seriously because she's a chatbot, and if you do, then I seriously have concerns about your mental health. And so you didn't say you don't have an opinion seriously. You said you don't take her seriously. You even doubled down by attacking her personality and said, and by not taking her seriously with the added context of LLM models being bad, why do you think I don't take her seriously? It's almost like it's almost like I don't take bots seriously overall because they aren't real people. So yeah, obviously if you talk about that, saying, then why did you even spend time trying to claim that Neuro was different to begin with? Said, yeah, and and before you say because she's human drawn, you can use human drawings with Leaflet's tool if you desire, and there would often then not be humans behind that model. Saying, yeah, and generate a shitty AI slot model instead of getting a real artist / rigger. Yeah, dude, Neuro Sama being made by drawn and rigged by real people is kind of the whole point of the argument. Leaflit is closest to be the Kwebbelkop of VTubing. She's the next Vedal with her Gencast AI VTuber model generator. So yeah, and obviously then Leaflit responds to that saying, so hold on, you're telling me an artist can create things that can help people, that helps with AI VTubing, but a VTuber cannot create things that helps with AI art. So yeah, obviously that's the question that's been going around, right? But yeah, I mean, it seems like a pretty interesting comparison that still continues to go on. Of course, a lot of people don't like, Neuro Sama being dragged into this because, of course, they're not like the type to get into drama or anything like that, right? They're just kind of getting on with stuff and entertaining. So yeah, obviously a lot of people will be defending her, and a lot of people will be defending Vedal and all of that, which again, I like Neuro Sama. I think she's great. I think, and I don't think Leaflit thinks she's bad either, right? She's outwardly said that she likes Neuro Sama as well. But she just wants, everything to kind of coexist, right? So it is interesting. We'll have to see if anybody else comes out of anything else in terms of Neuro Sama and a comparison to Neuro. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to GameSubs, use my code Kazo, get 10% off again. They've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.